you might want to buy a GPU while you still can. Let's talk about it. Alright, so I'm hearing some very scary news when it comes to the affordability as well as the availability of GPUs going into next year, and this kind of all started, at least for me, when I saw an article over on TechSpot that says, quote, AI is eating all the DRAM, DDR5 prices just doubled, GPUs could be next. And I'll go ahead and link to the entire article in the description of this video, but needless to say, they do a really great job summing up how DDR5 prices are going up. And yeah, I'm hearing a lot about potentially GPUs being the next to go up in price, as not only is it system memory or DDR5 that's being affected by the AI boom in data centers trying to get as much RAM as they can get their hands on, but it looks like this is going to start to become a problem for graphics cards as well, as all these data centers that are trying to run AI, which is basically, it's like a line that goes up and up and up in terms of how much compute that they need. Well, now they're running out of potentially GPUs in the future as well. They're getting everything they can get their hands on, which is stressing the not only DDR5 but potentially GDDR6, GDDR7 suppliers as well, as they struggle to keep up with demand. And when we take a look at the next bit of information that comes from TechPowerUp, well, they state similar things, and in fact it gets even scarier in their article, where they state, quote, AMD is reportedly preparing for a round of GPU price increases with rising memory costs cited as the reason. Posts on Chinese board channels forum claimed AMD told partners that memory prices have climbed enough that its next wave of GPUs will ship at higher prices. And later in the article, they go on to state, quote, Nvidia is also rumored to be planning a similar price hike in early 2026. Neither AMD nor Nvidia is driving the increases. Both are caught in the same memory crunch. As usual with reports like this, it can take weeks before any change appears at retail. So they almost seem to be kind of suggesting that this could be mere weeks or possibly months away before you start to see GPU price increases. And let's take a look at the final bit of information before we get into current GPU prices. This one's actually coming from a website called PCGuide.com, and they state, quote, Nvidia and AMD may consider discontinuing, yes, discontinuing their cheaper GPUs due to memory shortages, report says. But there's one bit of additional information that I want to share with you, and that's that a friend of mine who is deep into the PC ecosystem recently told me he's being told that GPU prices might even double sometime next year. Now, before you start panicking, personally, do I think the GPU prices are going to double? Well, probably not for most GPUs. Now, there might be a handful or maybe one or two GPUs out there, specific models that maybe some AIBs or Nvidia or AMD, someone out there is concerned that they might have to significantly raise the price. Perhaps something like an RTX 5060 is going to have to go way up in price because the memory is a huge portion of the build of that GPU, and for them to justify continuing to sell it, maybe that one GPU will have to go way up in price. And that certainly could be the case, or maybe I'm wrong and maybe GPU prices really will double. But personally, I don't really think every single GPU is gonna double or near double next year. However, based on the amount of information that we just went over, I do think there's a good chance that GPU prices could go up. I mean, wowee, it's just what we needed. But yeah, I think that actually could be the case, which is a little bit scary. And so I think that gets me to the point of, and it's gonna be kind of the point of this video of, should you buy a GPU now while you still can? And I think the answer for most people, if you've been waiting to buy a GPU or you're considering purchasing one soon, is that the risk reward would lead me to tell you probably yes, buy a GPU now. Now, I always, when it comes to buy now or wait, like to weigh up the risk versus reward, and here's my thought process on the whole thing. There's a ton of GPUs that are at or even below MSRP right now. In fact, I'll have affiliate links to every single one that I can find in the description below to make it easier for you guys to find those good GPU deals, and of course, I'll be getting some affiliate commission from that as well. Of course, you know, I got a wheel and deal here, guys, but in all seriousness, my thought process is, they're at a good price now. And what's the risk of buying one now? So there is a risk that you buy one now and potentially it drops in price even further, but how much further can GPUs really drop in price. I mean, maybe $20 on a GPU 50, maybe even $100 on something like an RTX 5080, or maybe a 5090 that's way overpriced right now. Maybe that could come down from $2,400 to $2,000, and maybe for that GPU it could be worth waiting if you feel like you're pretty confident it's gonna lower in price. But most of the GPUs I don't think really have a whole lot of room to continue to reduce in price based on the amount of demand in the market right now. So the risk of buying one is really low, whereas the risk of not buying one is potentially quite a bit higher, as yeah, maybe you can save $50 if you wait, but maybe you could actually lose hundreds of dollars if you wait, or even $1,000 if GPUs really go way up in price. And so for me, that's where I take that risk reward type of view on the whole situation and go, it seems riskier to me right now to wait to buy a GPU than to buy one. And just to be clear, nobody has a crystal ball and nobody can tell you for sure what GPU prices will be a week, 2 weeks, a month, or even 6 months from now. And I do understand that people are waiting for the RTX 50 Super Series, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys, if there really is this much concern about availability of GDDR7 memory, well then bringing out a whole new series of GPUs with more GDDR7 memory, well, if they do choose to actually do that, surely it's going to be delayed at this point, and even if it's not delayed, well then surely those cards will be even harder to get and even more expensive. So I don't think at this point, based on everything that we're seeing right now, that I would personally wait for a GPU. Personally, I would buy one now, and let's go over a few right now that are actually really good prices, and we'll go from lowest price to highest price. But I found a Zotac RTX 5060 Ti 8GB. Yes, I know it's 8GB. Whoa! But hey, look, you know, listen, it's currently on a Black Friday deal of 25% off, and it's down to $329.99. And to be honest with you, that's a pretty good price for the RTX 5060 Ti. So if you really are okay with running lower settings on games and it not aging well, this might actually be a good card for you. Also, the RTX 5060 Ti 16GB, well, I see it, it looks like it's just under MSRP on Amazon at $419.99. But if you want something more powerful, well, I did also find the RTX 5070 under its MSRP. It launched at $550. It's now down to $529.99 over on Amazon for the MSI Gaming RTX 5070 12GB Shadow. And to be honest with you, considering everything that's going on right now, that's actually a pretty good price. And again, I don't think it would be a bad idea to pick that up now. Then we have the RTX 5070 Ti Gigabyte WindForce, which does look like a beast of a card, and this thing, well, it's going for $749.99, which sure, that's not a crazy insane deal, but it is at its MSRP, and in my opinion, this is actually the card with the best MSRP out of the entire RTX 50 series. In fact, I really like this card. I think it's a great value, at least currently, at $750. So again, I would highly recommend picking that up if you're thinking about buying one soon. And then we have the RTX 5080, which again, here's another card at MSRP. It's not as good of a deal as the RTX 5070 Ti, but both these cards have 16 gigabytes of VRAM and they're both at MSRP. And if you want one, now might be a good time to buy one. But I do want to preface this real quick here, guys, with I don't want you to rush out and buy a GPU that you don't need. I mean, if you currently have something that's working fine for you, you're satisfied with it, or you feel like you really don't want to spend the money right now, don't rush out and buy one just because you're scared of GPU prices increasing. I'm sure at some point in the future, GPU prices, if they do increase, will probably end up coming back down. And quite frankly, if you're happy with the card that you have, you don't need to upgrade. But if you're thinking of upgrading, well, it might be a good time, as yeah, I do think they might increase in price, and if you're gonna buy one in the next couple of weeks, I'd probably just pull the trigger now. But hey, that's just what I think. Do you think that the RTX 50 series really will increase in price, or do you just think that this is total nonsense? Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below, and of course, I'll see you in the next video.
If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to drop a like. Every time you do so, AMD and Nvidia release new GPUs. Also, if you want to see more, check out one of these related videos. You won't be disappointed.